I want you to be able to tell your story the way that you want it to be told and not have to look back and say, well, this is just the story that I wrote. That's the cards I was dealt. Hello, Wellness Ninjas, and welcome back to another episode of the Wellness Dojo Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Craik, and today I'm excited because I'm kicking things a little bit different, going solo on this episode. And I'm going solo because I want to talk to you today about something that is super close to my heart and something that I just believe is so extremely important in today's society. And what I want to talk about today is creating purpose. Now, I'm going to talk about what that creating purpose is first, or in a second. But first, what I'd like to talk about is, just goal setting in general. Because, first of all, I know a lot of people have probably rolled their eyes at this point because creating purpose, finding your purpose, it sounds very cliche. and I get that. I do. But when you really look at what this actually means, it's something that does become super, super important. And it's something that we're all dealing with every single day of our lives. And when we're in a society like we are right now, that is so riddled with anxiety, depression, mental health disorders, mental health issues, the purpose that you're living becomes so important. Now, I'm sure everybody listening to this has set a goal in their life before. Maybe you achieved your goal and maybe you didn't. Maybe you fell short. Maybe you achieved your goal and then you went backwards afterwards. Maybe it was a weight loss goal, for example. Maybe you wanted to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe even 100 pounds that you wanted to lose. And you were working towards that goal. Now, let's say you achieved that goal. It's really difficult to find motivation once you've achieved that goal. You see, goals are things that you check off on a list. A goal is something that's achievable. Whereas when we look at purpose, a purpose isn't a goal. A purpose is not something that you can just check off of a list. A purpose is much bigger than the goal. A purpose is something that drives you. A purpose is that thing that when you want to quit, you don't quit. A purpose is something that breeds longevity. A purpose gives you fulfillment in your actions. A purpose isn't necessarily something that you get, something that you achieve, and it's not even necessarily something that's tangible, but it still motivates you. A purpose is something you never achieve. When we're talking about a purpose, that's the thing that pushes the goals to the surface. That's the thing that keeps you going. I want to give you an example. Any parents out there who are listening right now, you'll understand this. Because when you become a parent, there's a certain purpose that is almost implanted in you as you become a parent. When you see that baby for the first time, you start to understand that your purpose in life has just changed drastically and that you now have an extremely important purpose to live for. And when those times in your life come up where things are getting real shitty, when you want to call it quits, throw in the towel, maybe you don't feel like you can take this anymore. You feel like you've had enough. You're at your wit's end. It's that purpose of being a parent that pushes you through, that pulls your shit together, that allows you to shake it off and keep going for those kids. I don't know how many times I've felt like I'm not doing a good job being a parent. I don't know how many times I've thought, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I've got more to give today. But it didn't matter because the overall purpose was so much stronger than that urge to quit, was so much stronger than that urge to some days just honestly walk away. But you can't, because that purpose matters so much to you that you keep pushing. That's what finding a purpose in life can do. Every time I decide to keep going, to push through, to find a way to make it work, that gives me fulfillment. Making that choice versus quitting. So your purpose is going to be that thing that stops you from quitting. It's going to be that thing that when you're flirting with quitting, when you're flirting with giving up, and you look that purpose in the face, it's not even going to be a question for you on whether or not you keep going. I've set goals before in my life and I've achieved goals. I've set goals before in my life and I've not achieved some of them. But the difference is when I've understood my purpose underneath the goal that I was working to achieve, those are always the times when I pushed past that failure, when I pushed past that setback. It was all about finding that purpose. It's about understanding the story that I'm writing and that there's meaning in that story. You see, we're all writing our own stories. Every single day, we're flipping a new page and we're starting to write a new story. We've all got that pen in our hand. Every decision that we make, every time we answer somebody's question, every time that we take action, either one direction or another direction, we're writing our story and we're deciding in the moment how that story is being written. When you start to get aligned with your purpose, you start to write that story with a little bit more intention. You're not just reacting to the day-to-days anymore, but you're actually intentionally taking action. You're intentionally creating that story of what you want to be in your life, instead of just going through the motions and looking back and saying like, well, this is what my story has told. I want you to be able to tell your story the way that you want it to be told and not have to look back and say, well, this is just the story that I wrote, because that's the cards I was dealt. That's what purpose can give you. Now, like I said, being a parent, that's a whole new level of purpose. But people can create purpose in other areas of their life too. It's really important if you have a fitness goal, right? If you have a weight loss goal, we talked about. But also, what about your career, your business? Whether you have your own business, whether you're working for a business and building a career within that business, it's so crucial that you have a purpose behind that you're working towards something real. Anybody who is working a job and they don't feel like they're fulfilling a purpose, they are not feeling fulfilled in that career path. You're going to feel some sort of way about that job every time you walk into it. But if you can start to figure out or create that purpose for that, you're going to walk into that job with a different feeling. You're going to walk into that job setting goals easier, achieving goals easier. And when you do have setbacks, or when you do have a failure, it's going to be a lot easier to keep going because you didn't fail the purpose. You just failed a goal along the way. And that's a big difference. Because remember, a purpose is not something that we ever achieve. You will continue to work towards that purpose. There's no, I got it or I didn't get it. It's just working towards it constantly. And while maybe there's nothing tangible there for you, I can promise you the feeling that you get working towards that purpose, that wins every time over that tangible feeling of achieving a small goal. Small goals are great. Don't get me wrong. Definitely, let's set strong goals. But we need to set goals that align with our purpose. And we need to create and discover what that purpose is in order to set those goals that actually align. Because otherwise, you're not going to be very motivated to achieve those goals anyways. When you look at relationships, a relationship with a spouse, a relationship with a sibling, with a parent, a friend. What's the purpose behind that relationship? What is the purpose to working towards a better relationship? If you're having difficulties in your marriage, with your kids, setting goals of, well, we just want to connect more, or, well, we're going to start going on date nights. That's our goal, is to start going on more date nights. Great. But the first time you miss that date night, you're going to feel like you failed. What's the purpose behind going on more date nights? What's the purpose behind connecting more as a couple? Because when you start to connect the purpose with the actions, not only do the actions make more sense, are more motivating, but also when the action feels like it's failed, you can still be working towards that purpose. And a great example of this is in fitness, in exercise. When I hear people say, well, I didn't have an hour to get my workout in, so I just skipped it altogether, because I figure if I could only do 10 minutes, it doesn't count. Well, maybe not. If your goal is to do a 60-minute workout 3 days a week, you're probably right. Doing the 10 minutes of a walk, or going 10 minutes of weight training instead of the 60 minutes, it probably doesn't count. But if you look at the purpose behind why you started working out, the real reason behind it, well, now that 10-minute workout actually does count towards something. Now, switching your workout and just getting a walk in, it does count towards something, because the overall purpose behind why you wanted to achieve that goal, why you set that action plan, why you're doing what you're doing, that purpose is still being worked towards, whether it's 1 minute or whether it's 60 minutes or whether it's 90 minutes of exercise. You're still pushing towards that goal, towards that purpose. So it does count. And that's what purpose can do for you. I believe that your purpose is the number one thing that you need in order to achieve big goals, long-term goals. I said before, that purpose is going to breed longevity. When you set that purpose, it allows you room to make adjustments in your plan. It allows you room to adjust your goals along the way. It allows you room to make decisions and to create your own story. Now, earlier, I talked about creating purpose. Now, a lot of people talk about finding purpose. Well, you might be listening to this and going, well, this is all great, Kyle, but I don't know what my purpose is. I'm lost. I get you. I've been there. My purpose has changed. My why has changed multiple times in my personal life, in my career, in my fitness journey. My purpose has changed multiple times. But this is the good news. You don't have to find your purpose. You can create your purpose. You get to decide. Remember, the pen is in your hand. You're writing the story. You get to decide, what is my purpose? What do I want my purpose in life to be? What do I need to do that's going to make me feel fulfilled? And from there, you can start to piece together the goals, the actions, the relationships that you form in order to start to live that fulfilled life, and in order to start to fulfill that purpose that you've now created. It's the number one thing. Now, I don't sell anything on this podcast ever, but I do want to tell you guys about something. If anything in this episode has resonated with you, if anything here has been something that you've gone, yeah, that's what I need to do, then I'm here to tell you I've got something that is going to be so incredibly powerful. We have our New Year Ninja Wellness Retreat coming up. I'm so excited about this. I've almost felt anxious. That's how excited I am about this, because I know how impactful this is going to be. We're going to take this weekend, January 20th to 22nd, 2023. We're going to be taking this weekend and we're going to be diving in to what stories have you been telling yourself. Are those stories true? Let's call out the shit here. Right? You're going to call yourself on your shit. You're going to call yourself on your stories. And we're going to see what stories have you been telling yourself that aren't true. What stories have you been telling yourself that are true? We're going to look at what story and purpose do you want to create for yourself. We're going to start to pick up that pen and we're going to start to write the story that matters. We're going to start to write the story that builds the life that gives you fulfillment, that has you living with purpose, that has you achieving your goals. Long term, not short term. This is going to be a life-changing weekend for so many people. I'm so excited for it. If you're interested, you can check it out on my website. Go to www.wellnessdojo.ca/events or reach out to me personally and I can get you the information for it. But it's our New Year Ninja Wellness Weekend Retreat. So excited for it, to dive in with this purpose, to help people start to create and recognize what the purpose is for whatever they want to achieve in their life. You might have a different purpose for different areas of your life. Your relationships might have one purpose: being a parent, being a good spouse, being an amazing friend, building communities. And you might have another purpose for your career. And then finding ways that those different purposes that you have in your life can actually align together so that you can start living a life that feels aligned and stop living a life that feels unfulfilling, that feels anxious, that feels depressing, and that feels like a constant struggle. You're going to start to struggle less and live more. Thank you for joining me on this new test kind of episode, going solo here. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you liked it. It's a little bit weird for me to be sitting here just kind of shooting and talking about it, but also kind of enjoyable. Let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you. For additional support or to work with one of us one-on-one, go to our website, www.wellnessdojo.ca. You can also find us on Instagram at Wellness Dojo YYC or on all other social media platforms searching The Wellness Dojo. We'll see you in the next episode.